Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers, connecting with makers from all around the world. Here's your hosts, Jamie Page, Chris Cute, and now, Richard Morley.
So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is and wherever you are listening. Joined with me as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
Except for last week. Hi, how are you?
Mr. Jamie Page.
I've still got 100% attendance. Hello.
He's good. We've got to do something about that, Chris. But not tonight, another time, because this evening we have with us Jake, a.k.a., as I'm sure everyone knows him, the Maker, a monster. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Fantastic. That's great, because I've been really looking forward to tonight because... well, I don't really know you, if I'm honest. We bumped into each other very briefly at Maker Central, and I mean very briefly because actually I think Mini Noodle kind of hogged the time, but we'll brush over that. So in order to educate everybody about what you're about, what your channel's about, etc., you can educate me as well, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I wear a mask. I wear this mask. And I make silly, dumb stuff.
No, you make awesome. You make awesome stuff.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to the show tonight. It was great. So I think there's a little bit more to Jake and Jake's channel than just that. So just have a little think about that for just 1 second, Jake, because I've got to run through a few little kind of usual things, and then we'll be right back with you. So please don't go anywhere. Don't panic. It'll be all right. Because as always, I just need to get away with the few shout outs and thank yous very quickly. The live listeners, as always, this evening. So I'm just going to run through a few of them as they appear in the live chat. If I just scroll towards the top for a second, we've got Bunny Lake, Andy Pugh, Andy Hill, H Bespokes, Doug at Polbon Productions, Rich the Beard 16, Dragon Mum, Funny Lake, I think I already said, Susie Tail, Dragon Turn-ins, I think I got that in the wrong order, and there's loads of people listening tonight. That is absolutely fantastic. So big shout out and welcome to you guys. As always, tonight's show is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Woodturners Abrasive Paste, our good friend Chad over at Mancrafting, and Pam from Highland Boxes. If you want to find out more about not just our guests tonight, but also our sponsors as well, Jamie puts all that jazz on our website, which is www.makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. And Jamie, is that up to date or probably not? Knowing
Yep.
You? Oh, it is. Cool. Fantastic. Bonus. So you'll get all the latest information. Chris, my friend, you weren't here last time.
No.
So sorry about all the editing you had to do first off. Do we have any random listener questions from the week?
You know what? You're not lying about that, and that apology is needed. Okay. I do have a question, gentlemen, so put your thinking caps on. This is rather a long one. It's just because there's a lot of disclaimers in it. It was given to us by our good friend Dale Kirkwood, who, by the way, Jamie says is...
Maple Tree Studios.
There you go. See? Jamie,
I know that because the Alexa in his workshop told me.
Oh, awesome.
I'm pretty sure Dale's in the live chat, so hi, Dale. Let's answer your question.
Awesome. So, and I managed to get more than one word out of Jamie. That's freaking fantastic. All right, so Dale's question says it's a simple one, actually. And I guess it's more of a personal question than it is. He's not looking for our advice because basically he doesn't care. He's looking for our own personal story here. He says, given that a lot of people are getting into making as hobbies, what tools or things wouldn't you get and or buy if you had the time to do it all over again? I mean, perhaps something like I wouldn't have spent all that time and money learning about resin work. I would have focused more on, like toolcraft, etc. So basically, if you're just getting started again in your making world, is there anything that you would change and maybe not waste your time and or money on that you did waste your time and money on? So I'll leave it up to you guys. Jamie, you want to go?
Well, I'll kick this one off. When I first started getting all of my tools, when I decided I wanted to start taking woodworking seriously, I basically wanted to pack out my little space with technically a full cabinet shop. I mean, I was getting table saws. Reluctantly, I was getting routers. I was getting the works. I was obviously getting scroll saws and lathes and everything you can ever dream of, and then slowly it got to the point where I can't even walk in my workshop, let alone move or make anything. And I'm like, right, yeah, now it's time to stop putting that away somewhere. So
So,
if I was start again, I'd buy a scroll saw and a lathe. That's it.
or perhaps you just if you were to start again, you'd spend the money on making yourself a bigger shop. It's just a thought.
Maybe that would have been a good start. Yeah.
Jake, what about you?
I spent a lot of money on a lot of random things, but I don't know if there's anything I wouldn't have gotten, because I end up inevitably, once I get rid of something, I need it like the next day. So I've got just all sorts of stuff all over the place, and eventually I'll use it.
I hear that. Richard?
Well, I was going to say, Jake, do you get something random, use it, or get something random, not use it?
A little of both.
And never use it, or do you kind of just hope to eventually use it? Because I think there's a kind of
some of each. I've got some things that are up on my shelf there that I thought were neat, and I bought it and had no idea what to do with it, and still don't have any idea what to do with it.
So what's the craziest thing you've got in your workshop that you thought that you needed, and like, say 5 years later you still haven't used it?
I have like a toy circular knitting machine.
I remember those. Holy crap! You must have bought that at a vintage store. That's funny as hell.
Is it one of the ones like with the winding handle that makes the tube?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kat, Hippie Noodle, she uses one of those for her yarn dyeing stuff. She makes a particular type of dyed yarn. It creates some kind of weird, I don't really understand it, pattern thing goes on. The hours I've sat in the kitchen, like, and then you stop, she says something, and then you start winding it, and it goes, no, go the other way. It's horrendous, but they're really useful.
Well, I saw somebody, I think I saw it on Reddit or something, somebody made one connected to a bike, where you would sit there and you would pedal the bike and it would knit a scarf.
We need that link.
All right, I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, so I bought one and it's been sitting on my shelf ever since.
I love the way way when Chris asked you the question, you're literally sitting there going, there's that.
You can see it right there.
You can see it right. That was so cool.
Jay, just so you know, you got to know, Richard's going to hook it up to a router to come hell or high water. Anyway, so forget the bicycle. Just show him how to hook it up to a router, and he'll be good. Richard, what about you?
Honestly, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I wouldn't get again, because I think, like so many people, you want to try loads of things. So I think the thing, I can't think of a specific tool or item, but it would be those things that have only got a single use that I've only used once. Do you know what I mean? There's like a tool that's got 5 uses, but you get the one tool that's, because if you don't have it, you can't do that one thing, even though there's 20 other tools in the workshop that'll still do it. So I can't think of anything off the top of my head, because we all like, I think a lot of us like doing loads of different things, because we kind of dance between various bits. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for me, and Dale, thanks for the question, by the way. I don't know. Like you guys, I don't know if there's anything I wouldn't have gotten. And I don't think that there's anything I have gotten that I haven't used at least once. I think we're talking about the very beginning when I was really looking into things. I think the one thing I ended up not needing for several years afterwards when I bought it was I bought a Dremel and a Dremel set. And I never picked up the Dremel for 4 or 5 years until after I bought it. And then went, oh, this thing is kind of cool. I probably should have used this earlier. I could have used it, but no, I can't think of anything that I wouldn't have done. I didn't kind of get into metalworking and then give it up and already have bought in tools, or I didn't get into resin work and get into it and bought a bunch of stuff and then not used it. It's been woodworking for me, so it's not hard. Whatever I've been given, I've used at least once. Or
just out of curiosity, is anybody, including the listeners, and let's twist on the question, got one of those tools that you can't get rid of? Literally, it's like that boomerang toy. You throw it and then right, it's gone. I get rid of that, and then 5 minutes later, one comes in from another side.
You mean all of a sudden you find out you need it, like Jake said, the next day?
No, but I don't want it, because it's probably about 5 years ago now. I bought a scroll saw. Right. I actually went on eBay and I bought a second-hand scroll saw. I drove 40 miles to go and pick it up from this guy's house. got it, brilliant. I was using it, and I did a few little kind of scroll story things. It was a low point in my life, admittedly, but I'm you know, sharing is caring and all that. So I then stopped using it, and it sat in the workshop. Didn't do anything for months and months and months, and it was just getting in the way. So I sent it, posted it off to Soph, Make It Soph, because she was doing a thing with the kids and cutting up bits of wood and all the rest of it. But yes, it got rid of it. And then about 2 months after that, we go and see Jamie, and I come back and I've got not one but 2 scroll saws he gave us, and one of them it didn't work actually, thankfully. So we got taken apart for parts, and that got like shipped off somewhere. And I kid you not, about 2 weeks later, Kat's stepdad comes around. He said, "I've been tidying up my workshop. Do you want a scroll saw?" just get rid of them, and then a week later, another one comes in from there.
Well, I was going to say my scroll saw, but I didn't buy that. My parents gave it to me as a gift, so it doesn't kind of really qualify as something I would have not have gotten. But I mean, even to this day, Jamie, I'll give it to you. I have a scroll saw, and I use it every now and then because it's a useful tool. And when you're doing intricate little small things, I you need it. I mean, do I like it? No, but I mean, do I need it? Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a router. I'll be honest, I don't like using it.
Well, a lot of people in the chat.
I don't think it's. Yeah, it's not. I think it's just my inexperience as to why I don't like using it.
What's that, Jamie?
I think it's probably due to my inexperience as to why I don't like using it.
What's that? A router?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually, I use my router a lot, actually.
Yeah, I've used it. The only times I've ever really used a router is when I beat Richard in the Team Scroll Saw Team Router competition, and
had to bring that up.
And to flatten off a log.
Was that the log that you used as the workpiece for the competition that you whipped me in using the router?
No, it was actually for someone wanted a rustic cake stand, and it was basically a log.
Okay.
And I don't know, for some unknown reason, they wanted like a foot tall cake stand that was a log. And when I got it, it was a split to hell.
Oh, well,
so I was like, I know what I feel with them splits: oil on resin.
Difficult build there, Jamie. What'd you have to make? I had to make a log. Okay, that had to be hard.
Yeah, just flatten a log.
Anyway, Dale, thank you for the question. By the way, if any of the folks that are listening to it, if you have a random question you'd like us to address, please feel free to message us on Facebook, Makers International Podcast, or even message us on one of our shows here, either on SoundCloud or on Facebook, and we'll get to your question as soon as we possibly can. So thank you, Dale. I appreciate it. I don't know that Richard does, but I do.
Well, it depends on the question. But actually, yes, that's because it starts to show off nicely. Jamie kind of dived in with the router thing and being a bit sort of scared of tools and all the rest of it. But it's a really thing, because you did a video, Jake, about your bandsaw, didn't you? You introduced your new Bandosaurus in one video, which, first of all, this is kind of a 2-part question. The first bit is, have you got there he is. There he is. I'm just going to question, where do you get these ideas from? Because they're just completely mental, and it's awesome. It's like no holds barred. I'm just going to be fun, and you just take fun to 11. I mean, where do these ideas come from?
Well, on the bandsaw, I turned the little knobs into eyes, like when I first got it, just because. But then I don't know. I wanted to make characters to kind of fill my workshop. So, and that one, it's super. It's just it's like a little frame that pops over the front, and I can just take it off and put it back on. So it's super simple and just.
So do you literally like sit there using the bandsaw and like in your head you're going nom 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 nom?
No, but I should add something to make the sound when I do it.
Like a proper sound effect for the end there. Because one thing I like about your channel as a whole is it's got that. I mean, we all I guess a lot of people, myself included, like to consider ourselves as sort of being all inclusive to makers and inspiring other people of all ages. But your channel, it just takes for me personally, it takes it to that next level. It comes across as more of a high-end production kind of kids channel.
I've got like if I had like unlimited money, I would like have a whole team, and this would be like a full out TV show style.
But
thing.
that's the vibe it gives off already. I mean, I'm assuming you're in a 2-car garage or a basement workshop or a spare room in your or wherever it is. But it just looks like it should be on like Boomerang or
it's Captain Kangaroo on steroids.
I've been telling people when I try to explain to people, I've been saying think more Pee-wee's Workshop.
There you go.
That's kind of the idea.
So where did that idea come from? Because did you used to work for was it Ace Hardware or one of those kind of?
I used to work for a hardware store, and I used to do just like more like art stuff, and I was making these little figures, and I was just doing that, and then I got a job where I kind of couldn't do that, and so I had to find something else to do, and I liked puppets, so I wanted to do them with puppets, and then I just kind of combined everything together, and now I'm doing this.
It's mad.
Nice.
I mean,
it's brilliant. I mean, we should contact PBS and get you on television, just because I think the world needs you.
I mean, I think there's huge potential for that because we've got people like Soph who's doing the Mini Maker stuff, and she's visited various places. But to have it on a TV channel where kids could be eating their cornflakes in the morning and watching something like that, and almost learning about the outside world and making things and being independent and all that, I think it's got a huge market value as well as potential.
I'm slowly finding my way into making it the actual what I see it as being.
I mean, so how long has it sort of taken to get from that gem of an idea, which we can't deny it was a gem of an idea, to where you are now? Are we talking woke up one morning and
I spent a lot of time not doing anything with it because I wasn't sure how to do it. The initial idea, I had the idea on the train on the way to the Making It 100 event. So that was, I have no idea, 3 years ago now?
2.5 at least. Anyway, yeah.
At least a couple of years, yeah.
And so I had the idea, and I thought the original idea was a puppet, and I was just going to have the puppet be making stuff. But making something as a puppet would have been nearly impossible. So then from there it evolved into this character and various. I have a mask that was the version 1 mask that it was gonna be, and then it ended up being this mask afterwards.
That was a while ago, and that was in the Making It 100. That was actually held in Boston, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where you're from, isn't it, Boston? Where you are, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time not doing anything with it. I had the idea, and I either didn't have the space to work on stuff, or I was too afraid of not doing it well and having it not going well. And so I just spent a lot of time thinking about it and not doing anything about it.
Do you have the first generation mask? Anyone?
I do. Hold on.
Go grab it. Oh, grab it. I want to see it because I want to see what the Maker Monster could have looked like. And then we can vote on it, everybody. Oh, go back to the original or keep that.
You can't go back to the original now.
No. I know. But he could wear it as a costume and make a second character with it.
I've slowly been turning into a puppet since then. But this was the first.
There you go.
That's like the drummer from.
Do you know what? I've just realised Brian Bales is from Boston, and he makes full body suits.
Who is this?
Bales. He's got a YouTube channel called Bales.
I'll have to check it out.
So
that was version 1, but I was trying to figure out. I was gonna try to do furry arm sleeves, and I was trying to figure out whether I was gonna wear gloves or paint my hands with makeup every time, and it was just becoming a real hassle. So I made these glasses for work that were just little eyeballs, and so then I took that idea and I turned that into the mask that I currently wear.
Version 1 looks like what Oscar from Sesame Street, the guy who lives in a trash can. I like that.
I was going to say it reminded me of the drummer from the Muppets.
Yeah.
Or a kind of a version. Did you make those yourself, or did you have somebody?
Yeah. Well, because the stuff I used to make was they were silicone, I called them puppets, but they weren't really puppets. They were kind of dolls, but they could have been stop motion puppets. Like they had like wire armatures inside and stuff like that, and they were all cast in silicone and painted and all of that. So that's what I was doing before all of this. And so I kind of took that into this.
Do you have a background in sort of puppetry or stop motion or animation or anything like that?
I went to art school, but I started as a photo major, photography, and I think I stopped taking photos maybe the first semester, and then I was doing, I think for my final project freshman year of college, it was this big wall thing where it was photocopies of me and my family's faces on these like weird painted bodies with circuit bend instruments built into the back with like the buttons on the front so you could play the instruments.
Wow.
So I stopped taking photos very quickly and then kind of eventually ended up making little weird sculpture dudes.
So kind of the further we kind of dive back into sort of, you know, the Baby Maker Monster's life, it's becoming more and more clear as to where.
Oh yeah, it all kind of comes together.
None of this. Well, I did law school, and then
got no other options.
I was a Harvard graduate, but then I gave up on my career. Jake, now I can tell just by talking to you, you're not originally from Boston. Where are you originally from? I'm
from Connecticut.
Oh, hello, neighbor. How are you? Yeah, give me some love.
Kind of in between the two casinos.
Yeah. Connecticut is just kind of a thoroughfare between two interesting towns, is basically what the state that I live in and that Jake used to live in. It's where people from Boston drive through to go to New York City, and we just wave at them as they go by. Yeah, okay.
Basically, Chris lives on a road.
Yeah, I live on a road, and you'll see me out. Just hi, somebody stop because I'm lonely, please. Nobody can recognize
in a load of trees.
Nobody gives Connecticut any love.
After leaving Connecticut and coming up here, my parents ended up buying, I think, like 17 acres behind me and got a couple cows. So that's where I'm from.
Wow. Well, I know where
back in the woods.
I know where the creativity came from. Then I've got to do something with my life. I got it anyway. Hi, Elsie. Moo. Oh my God.
Wow.
Anyway, Jake, you put out a video today, and I haven't. I'll be honest with you, I haven't had the opportunity to see it yet. What? And just briefly, give us the cliff notes. What's the video about before I go and watch it today?
It's a little planter, but it's concrete and it glows in the dark, and it came out awesome.
Anna will like that. Anna's our concrete girl.
And but it makes plants happy.
It made a plant very happy.
I'm not even going to ask. I'm afraid to.
Plant very happy.
I was originally all ready to go with Jake, have Jake's channel and all the rest of it, but I keep trying to see if there's questions in the chat, and I can't do two things at once, so I've lost the thing now. But didn't you call that the Galaxy Planter?
Yeah, because it looks kind of
because when you say it's a concrete planter, it doesn't really give it justice. Even when you say it's a glow in the dark concrete planter, you're still kind of playing it down a bit, I fear.
I mean, I didn't know what else to call it. It's a planter.
It is, but it's just a
meteorite.
It's just if you're listening to this, you have to go and look at it, because this thing's insane. It's absolutely beautiful. How the heck did you? I mean, presumably it's out in video, and I haven't seen it yet because the Andal show. But how did you do that? What was was it just like a happy accident, or did you see it?
Well, no. This technique, it's a concrete technique where you make like a really dry mix of concrete, and so then when you pack it into the mold, it leaves all these voids on the surface. And then you come back with kind of like a real thin, like slurry coat, and you fill in all the voids with a different color. And so then when you sand it back, you have like the main color and then all the contrasting bits.
So it's actually a fairly simple
idea. It's fairly simple, yeah.
But that's got,
especially if you're doing like a tabletop or something like that, it's way easier.
Well, I was going to say, that's got a lot of mileage, just that technique.
Oh yeah, it's the Buddy Rhodes press technique. He's He's the concrete dude that came up with it.
I friggin' love it. You know what? I'm trying, Jake, talking to you, and I'm trying to think if I have a favorite video of yours. And I don't know if it's the chicken-powered camera slider that you did, or if it was the I needed custom safety glasses video that you did. I mean, I can keep going on and on because every single one of them,
or the giant remote control.
I friggin' love them all. Do you personally have so far a video that you had either just a lot of fun doing, or one that you just really think you like? Do you have a favorite video that you've done so far, or are they all just kind of like, I did it? I did them all.
I like some of them for different reasons. Like the hug machine, like I had no idea what it was. There's like 90% of my videos, I have no idea what I'm doing when I go into the project. So like that, like inflatables, I had no idea what I was doing, and it worked way better than I expected. And then the little chicken guy here,
I love that.
Works better than I expected, and it's hilarious to watch.
I freaking love that video. I'm going, that may be one of my favorites. But then I went, well, he did that safety glasses one too. That
one was because there was one person who on all my videos where I was like using tools, they kept commenting that I needed safety glasses. I should have been wearing safety glasses, and so I figured I had to make some.
Safety Sally rears her ugly head again.
Even you've got a full mask on, you don't need glasses.
Even the Maker Monster gets Safety Sally comments. I like it. That's fun. That's fabulous.
That's a really good lead-in, actually, because obviously that particular project came, as you say, from the comments on preceding videos. But where generally do you come up with these just crazy ideas? I mean, and they are insanely good, but they're crazy. Let's not beat around the bush. Where do they come from?
Sometimes I'll see something and I'll try to just make my own version of it, or sometimes I'll need something and I want to just make a fun, like the chicken thing. Like I wanted a slider and I had a big box of chickens, and so I decided to make it more fun than it was.
Wait. I have to ask. Where did you get a big box of chickens? I mean, that has to be asked.
The big box of chickens is for a future project. It was a project I had probably before I even started the channel. I want to make a kind of piano organ, pipe organ type thing out of a bunch of screaming chickens. So it will happen. I just haven't gotten there yet.
So it's like a whack-a-mole with chickens. It's basically and music.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good forward thinking, obviously, because everyone's expecting that international rubber chicken shortage to happen within the next 6 to 12
months. I've got 50
months.
of them.
So you got to get in early, before it drives the prices up.
Get stocked up. Jeez. If anybody in our live chat today has a question for Jake, the Maker Monster, please feel free to ask it now. We would love to hear the questions to you, just so we don't continue to sit here and make idiots out of ourselves. It would be nice to get some help with your idiocy as well. So let's go ahead and go there.
Yeah. I've obviously got the question. Boxers or briefs?
Boxer briefs.
There you go.
MeUndies.
Left wing or right wing? Moderate. Okay. Thank you. Wow.
So, this was really a question that I guess a lot of our long-term listeners will remember as being sort of Alan's question. Is the origin question. We briefly went into it. I think we only really went to kind of freshman year college when you were doing your photography stuff. But this kind of idea, creativity, doesn't just start surely in your later teens. Where does this all start? I mean,
it was probably just growing up in the woods and having nothing to do a lot of the time. And my dad was always big into like fixing things himself. And like when my bike would break down, he would help me fix it, take it apart, fix it and all that. So he kind of got me into like figuring things out. And so I've always kind of enjoyed trying to figure out how things are done. And then where the weirdness came from, I don't know.
Well, you obviously don't lack from creativity.
I worry about it constantly.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way: if you do lack from it, you hide it extremely well, because some of the things you do are amazingly creative, and they have to be born in a brain that is either left of center or just extremely imaginative. And I'm going to go with imaginative. So, and you said you were in college, but you really didn't go to college for the arts, so to speak. You were in the college basically for photography, you said?
Yeah, I was photo for probably 2 years, and then I switched to fine arts.
Okay, there you go. All right.
I just kind of did dumb stuff. I was really bitter about school for a long time.
So was I.
I felt like I spent 4 years just teaching myself, because all the weird, dumb stuff I was doing wasn't things that we had classes for. But
your high school didn't teach you how to make rubber chicken power.
Yeah, I know. What a waste of money. So for a long time, I was super bitter about it. But like, I finally started to I spent 4 years doing things that I was interested in. Like, I had time to mess around with stuff to get to where I am now. And if I hadn't spent that time doing those other things, I don't know if I would have gotten as far as where I'm at. So I'm less bitter about
it. If I may ask a personal question, what is it that you professionally do right now?
I work for a supplier for silicones and resins, like mold making, casting supplies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jake Thompson, you're in the chat. You might want to hook Jake. Jake, meet Jake. Jake, meet Jake. You guys could probably work together sometime.
I know them two have met, because Jake went up to you down in near where the forge. Yeah. And he went up to you and said, "Hi, I'm Jake," and you went, "Hi, I'm Jake too," and he went, "Hee."
Sounds about right.
That's one of my fondest memories of Maker Central. Actually, it was the fact that obviously you were there with the mask, or rather, the Maker Monster was there, and then we were sort of hanging around. Is there going to be this big reveal? What's underneath the mask? And then you took the mask off. But if you weren't looking, it was still the same. You literally sound exactly the same. And I was
the amount of people that came up to the table, it was like, "Oh, that is your real voice."
but in a good way. It was like that. Oh, I don't know what I was expecting, but it just wasn't the same thing. If that makes sense. Did you ever sort of consider, if it's a character, going the whole hog and changing the voice or doing anything with it? Or was
I've been debating it. It's just I don't think I'm good enough at voices to make a different voice. So
honestly, I'm not sure you have to, because the one you have,
I do have a very Muppety voice.
It's not only that; it's the way you use your inflection when you're in character is friggin' hilarious. Hi. It's friggin' perfect, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just up pitch it a little bit, a little bit more excited than normal.
That's awesome. Well, let me ask you this question, and this will, hop us down the road a little bit. Do you have anything? Because you mentioned earlier that sometimes at the beginning of your videos, you don't know what in the hell you're going to do. It just ends up turning out, and sometimes it's like, yay. Do you have anything planned for the future that you can tease to us?
Yeah,
that you are aware of.
I don't know if they'll work out, but I want to make a rainbow machine. So I saw this video on Instagram at some point where it was some sort of car throwing out a bunch of water vapor, and it was leaving a trail of rainbow. And so I want to make a little rainbow machine go-kart. So I've got the parts over there, and I've just got to figure out how to make it.
I want to see that video of you with the mask driving the rainbow go-kart around your neighborhood. The neighbors are going to be going, "Oh Jesus, he's at it again."
Or something that fires bubbles out of it.
Because you could use colored liquid and do that, Jamie. That would actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to see you have a drag race with Izzy Swan on his drill-powered dinosaur.
There we go.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah. and Justin White on his Batmobile.
You know what? I think both of those guys would be a game for it. So if you guys want to do that, I'll work on arranging it, because that would be hilarious.
Deal.
Except Izzy dismantled his dinosaur. because he didn't have. Where are you gonna store? What was that thing? That thing was like 10 feet tall. I mean, where are you gonna store a 10-foot tall?
It was massive.
But it's just you cobble something else together. Like I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's Izzy. He can just knock one out. I mean, come on, buddy.
It's like an evening job, isn't it? you could do it like the was it trash yard junkyard challenge? Like both of you in a junkyard, you've got a weekend and you've got to come up with the craziest Izzy / make. That'd be another TV show.
That would be a challenge.
Yeah. Leona just said something out in the chat. Make a Mario Kart.
There we go.
A Maker Mario Kart. I like that.
Like a soapbox derby.
Somebody in the community, I don't know who it was, but somebody actually, you know those little toy cars that kids get they're all made out of plastic. They're like yellow on the top and red on the bottom, and you pedal them and they.
Oh
yeah.
Somebody actually made a life-sized one and made it street legal. And they drive. It's like, I don't know if they used a Volkswagen engine or what. I thought that was freaking hilarious. I'm like, oh, you are awesome. I don't know who you are, but I love you. I think that's cool as hell.
Yeah, that's great. That is great.
So I can't see. I don't know if you guys can see any of the questions coming out, but where are you? Are you looking to talk to us about what you might have in the future, or where the channel might go, or I mean, is there a particular direction you want to take it in, or?
I'm trying to figure it out. I keep going back and forth with how much I feel like I should do more talking in my videos, but talking in videos is super weird, so I haven't. But I feel I wish I had just like one other person around here, so I could have somebody else like do a character and I could talk to somebody, or I don't know. Eventually, I would love to have like a team of people like puppeteers and
even if you had just like a straight guy that you could just totally buffoon.
Somebody, so I'm not weirdly down here in the basement yelling to mailboxes and things like that.
Our buddy Steve Whitell just said in the chat, he says, I want to see the Maker Monster band put together. A lot like the Muppets, but Maker Monster style. It's like, we have a few people in the community who know how to play instruments. You could be the lead singer, maybe get Tim Sway dressed up on a guitar. That would be hilarious. And they get Eloy in there as well. There's some folks
have you thought about cloning in your video as well?
Oh, like Jackman style?
To have two of you.
Oh, that would give you a way to use the first mask. You could actually introduce. You could create the Scrollosaurus. The scroll.
Eventually, this guy will be a character. Oh, he lost an eyeball.
that eyeball reminds me of Andy Berkey because he wears those kind of goggles. That's just freaking hilarious. I wish we could have had Andy.
How many times have you used the mask like just for fun, like out in public?
Not many. It's a little
just make a central.
Down the post office.
You haven't gone to like the supermarket wearing that.
It's a little too much to like spring on random normal people.
No, you know what you do? You go to the supermarket wearing it, and you spend the whole day in the pet aisle, just looking up and down, and then you try to lick your lips at things. Oh, I don't know if I can afford that.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you buy a whole bunch of kitty litter and check out, and people will be going, "Oh my god, what the is that?"
Hey, you want to go through like a McDonald's drive-through or something like that, wearing it?
I could probably drive straight. I don't know if I trust myself to drive anywhere else. I can see really well directly in front of me, but I have like zero peripheral vision.
Oh god!
It just seems like you two are coming up with more and more ways for Jake to get arrested. It doesn't particularly seem like a good idea to me.
Honestly, I'd like to see that video too if it happened. Maybe if you have a few friends in the Boston PD, you might be able to arrange something that would be absolutely hilarious. And if you don't know any, then well, unfortunately, I do. I could hook you up with a couple guys that I've had brief conversations with in the past. No, just kidding.
Obviously, you've created a very unique character and channel. Who do you see your audience as? Do you think are you aiming to appeal more to the younger generation and kind of inspire them to believe that they can go out and make things as well, or are you kind of appealing to our inner child, or both, or none of those? Or
I really have no idea.
I'm guessing you just want to entertain.
Yeah, I should think about it more than I do, but right now I really don't know. So that's why it's in this like weird space where it's not quite a kid's show, but it's not quite not a kid's show.
It would be easy to describe it as being an entertainment show, because no matter if you're a child, or Richard, if you're your age, or even old as hell like me, it's an entertainment vehicle, and he does it with talent, because the things that he makes are obviously you have you have a lot of skill. You're able to do a lot of different things, obviously, and that's shown in your videos. But at the same time, like Richard said, it's absolutely mental to the way you go about doing it, which makes it entertainment. I mean, it's awesome on so many levels. I don't know how to describe it.
It is mental, but it's genius mental. It's not like completely I'm on drugs mental. It's a good mental.
Absolutely.
So I'm purely curious because it is so different to anything else I've seen. I think it's probably a fairly close approximation.
Yeah, I'm not. I keep going back and forth on it. We'll see where it ends up. I mean, I want to just add more just fun stuff outside of the making stuff, but I have trouble kind of mixing it in when I'm doing the videos. So.
Balancing it.
The interesting. Sorry, just 1 second, Chris, because I haven't quite finished. It's interesting because you said, I probably should think about that, but at the same time, that kind of I think of that as that's taking it kind of seriously, whereas you're obviously having an absolute blast doing your video. I mean, it comes across when you talk about it.
Make it a serious thing, but still having fun with it.
but if I don't know if that's coming out right. So you're obviously having fun doing what you're doing. We're obviously having fun watching you do things. I mean, yes, you can have that serious thing, but do you need to make it a serious thing to still have fun and be successful all the rest of it, or does that kind of take the fun away from it, or is it getting a bit businessy? I don't know how
serious it would be, but I think sometimes just outside of it, I should have a little bit more of an idea of what I'm doing than just blindly making whatever, whatever.
So we're not talking about changing anything. We're just talking about possibly you might desire a bit more focus. I'm guessing. I do have a question for you from the chat. Steve once again asks, do you have anybody in the community that you've watched that you would like to do a collaboration with? And I'll be honest with you, the first person, and Jamie will love this, the first person that came to mind when Steve asked that and I thought about it was Pat Lapp. Because I can see the Maker Monster and Pat Lapp do a video. That would be extremely hilarious. But I mean, I'll ask you, Jake, is there anybody that you've said, it'd be fun to do a video with that guy just because it would be kind of weird? Just because
I want to do something with Jackman at some point.
Paul,
I kind of vaguely talked to him about it at Maker Central.
That works too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jackman, Pat Lapp.
Have him make a big giant wooden hand, and I'll turn it into a big giant chop saw. So we'll see. Maybe one day. Don't know where I'd put it, but I want it.
That's all.
Ideally, if I could have two spaces, one space with like all the fake tools, and then a real space where the things are made, I would do that, and it would be super complicated, and I don't know how I would film it, but I would love doing it.
you need to put a speaker in it, so as you bring it down, it goes, "Hiya!"
Or just go pallet wood, go pallet wood, go pallet wood.
There was a question, another question from Leona out in the chat. She said, "Will you be coming back to Maker Central 2020?"
Yeah, if they do it again.
Well, that's going to be
announced that it has.
Wait, Jamie, don't ruin my thunder, you son of a biscuit eater. Because that's going to be part of my shout out today, in case people don't know about it.
Cookie.
Nobody likes you. I've asked. I did. I put a poll out. Who likes Jamie Payne?
You didn't need to ask, though, really, did you?
Nobody answered. No, I don't like that guy.
Like and love are two different things.
All right,
Everybody loves me. No one likes me.
Well, we've gotten to that point where I believe it's time for Jamie to give us his yellow pages of the Maker world, simply known as Jamie's Page. Dear God, help us.
That's
Right. So the first one is information coming from our sponsor, Mr. Glyn Senior. It's information regarding Yorkshire Grit. There is now an Israeli distributor. The distributor's name, and you're gonna have to excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, is Yuval Ethan or Ethan. So yeah, Yorkshire Grit's now got an Israeli distributor. So if you are happening to be listening from there, you can now get your Yorkshire Grit from where there you are.
From the home of olive wood, which, by the way, yeah, who doesn't like that?
Some beautiful wood.
Absolutely.
Wood.
Yeah, you know what? There you go, Jake.
Wood.
Bobby Duke and you collaboration. That would work.
Yeah,
that would totally freaking work.
A collaboration between you two. I won't wait.
You got that.
Right. The second one is kind of an honourable mention of actually two companies. I happened to meet these two companies at Yandles this weekend. The first one is Glowforce Limited. They sell the lathe lights that we were using to help shine the lights for the demos and all that sort of stuff. I've now got a couple of them now. Another one is GPS Agencies Limited, and they basically sell different kinds of resins and plastics and acrylics and all that sort of stuff. I think it's a husband and wife team, very new to the social medias and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely go and give them both some love. Great people, just to talk to. So yeah, they're great. But my shout out is actually going to go to Dan Tarrant of Yandles. He works for Yandles. He's got a YouTube channel called Wonky Workshop. The guy is just awesome. There's nothing else to say about Dan. Just awesome. Underlined twice in red in capital letters.
Well, I'm going to ask you live just to make you guys commit now so that people know. Because we're obviously not going to have enough time today because, the focus is on Jake. But next week, Jamie, Richard, can we talk about the event that you guys attended? I mean, and, do like kind of a Maker events type kind of show next week?
Yeah, totally. I'd love to. I'd love to.
Because I saw the Beard Time 16's videos. I saw the ones that he put out. And by the way, you've got a nice caravan, dude. Even though you don't know how to operate it, and your lady friend is the expert. I don't judge, dude. But seriously, nice setup. Anyway, go ahead, Jamie. I apologize.
So, sorry, there's also one other thing I want to mention. I also got the opportunity to meet Susie Dragontail Turnings as well. So go over and support her channel now. She's well under the wire getting her turnings going now, and I just want to apologise once again to her dad for emptying his wallet at Yandles. I did try and help and defuse the situation by giving her a bowl blank, but evidently that didn't help. he said he still went home skinned.
So basically, you're crediting yourself for her getting into lathe work, and it cost her father a lot of money. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Well, I'm not taking the full credit. I just happened to give her a set of tools, and
you started the whole process. Okay, good for you.
I think Steve started started it all off by dragging her in to turn a pen.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Steve didn't drag anybody in to turn a pen at Maker Central. They were queuing around the block, waiting patiently, and bless him, he had to stand there for however many hours.
Yeah, he did good.
Awesome. Jake, what about you? Do you have anybody you want to shout out or recognize, or anybody that you think is maybe underappreciated that doesn't get... Go.
Tyler Bell should have more people watching his stuff than he does. He just made some super crazy, like over-engineered bottle opener. It's this whole pneumatic system, and it's great and it's awesome. And Tyler's great. So
Tyler Bell. All right. If you guys are wondering, the links to all these channels and stuff will be down in the description on Wednesday. They're not going to be there today for the live audience, but on Wednesday they'll be down there. So Tyler Bell, right? Tylar.
Yeah, currently working on a home run machine. I think it's also pneumatically operated, but he's like got this like bat hooked up to a.
Oh, see, I was thinking it was. I was thinking it was something I could have used while dating, but apparently different type of home run. Okay. Moving on.
You do know the team. You do know the team Chris supports. He knows nothing about baseball.
Ignoring my sarcastic rear end, Richard. How about you? I can see you with your phone in hand. Meaning that you're well prepared once again.
No, I am. I was trying to check that I wouldn't miss anyone off, but it just means that I can blame anyone that I've missed off on you, Chris, because obviously you've jumped in there and caught me unprepared. That's my excuse. I'm going to stick to it. No, the list is quite long, but it's very quick. It's basically all Instagram people, but it's actual individual peoples rather than their sort of respective channels, and that is basically people from this weekend. So you'll probably get a shout out next week as well. There's Joe from Joe Makes. There's Rich, the Beard 16 has already been mentioned, and obviously also his lovely other half, Cheryl, who put on fantastic spreads and were very hospitable both evenings in the campsite. Andy Heal from H Bespoke, Make It Soph, and her other half friend. I think Soph and Reese anyway. Soph, you can explain that one away.
We don't want to commit with anything, so it's okay.
Matt from Badger Workshop, and also his friend Sarah, I think her name. I'm rubbish with names, so I think it was Sarah. Sausage, anyway, that we nicknamed her. Don't ask. Dan and Janie from.
You nicknamed a woman Sausage? That just doesn't sound polite, Richard.
No, it wasn't. That
was on her request.
It was, because it was like in the evening. It was a noisy environment, and like, did I hear that right? And she sort of mumbled it, and then because it was late in the evening, we'll say it. So she went, "Yeah, it's sausage. That'll do."
I assume
what they called me.
I assume several of these were consumed prior to her wanting to be called that.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So yeah, also Dan and Janie, that's Wonky Workshop, and also Somerset Girl, which is Dan's other half, Janie, who were hospitable and organising the show, and also Terry and his team at Chestnut Finishes, particularly because Terry provided us very generously, a bit like Dan did from Taylor Murfield at Maker Central, with some finishes that we could do with the pen turning and the demoing and stuff like that, which he didn't have to do. So he, supporting makers, supporting the community is ultimately the way it should be, I think. So those people, massive shout out and thank you for all the hard work and effort that they put in this weekend. And like I said, probably get a shout out next week as well. So happy days.
Yeah. And Nate as well from Simply Ornate.
And Nate, yes, sorry, of course, yeah. I told you there's just so many like backwards and forwards and people and all the rest of it. So.
We kind of had all next week to talk about that, but that's okay, Richard.
No, but it's honestly, these people that I've mentioned that couldn't wait a week because it was that cold.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm just.
Yeah, also haven't you weren't Jake?
Well, then forgive me. I'm just an ignorant American who doesn't quite understand. My shout out for this week, and this may be old news for a number of people. It may be new news for a number of people. I don't know. My shout out is to Nick Zametti. He put out a video earlier this week, and if you're listening to this on Wednesday, I think it was last week. So you may have to go back on Nick's channel and take a look at it. But watch the video called Making a Very Odd-Shaped Vase. Because within that video, you're going to find the little tidbit that says Maker Central 2020 is most likely going to happen either in June or July of next year, which, by the way, is exciting news because we didn't think there was going to be another one. But Nick apparently had to get over a couple humps, so it won't be a May show like it was this year. It's going to be either in June or July of next summer. So if you have the time, if you have the wherewithal, save your pennies now, because Maker Central 2020 appears, it's not confirmed, but it appears to be happening. And I believe it will still be at the NEC, the same location, same time, same bat place, same bat time, as it was last year. So if you can, save your pennies, and knock on wood, we can all meet up in Birmingham. And yes, my friend, I am determined to make it this time, because I think my wife won't need another brand new car next year that she needed this year. So knock on wood, I will have the funds ready to go. So yes, I will be able to make it this year. Anyway, so there you go. That's my shout out. Not only because Nick is awesome, but just because that's exciting news, and I'm glad to hear it.
Awesome.
And I get crickets. That's just not right, guys. What the hell?
Very exciting.
I was just about to say something. I've got cramp in my legs, so that's why I'm jiggling around. Not somebody keep it going.
I spent all that time trying to build this up, and I get done talking, and everybody's like,
nothing. Got nothing.
No.
I said it was awesome.
Oh, you guys suck, all of you. I don't care. I hate you all. Anyway,
it was great. I'm definitely going. Here.
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah. We can't wait to see you, Chris.
Better freaking late than never. Let me go fishing. Let me go fishing again.
Would you potentially pop along to Makers next year, Jake?
Yeah. If they're doing it, I'll definitely go.
I mean, I know it's not exactly sort of.
Oh, brilliant! Can't wait to see you, Jake.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be cool.
Why am I on this podcast still? I hate these people. Why am I? No respect. None. Zero. All right, Jake, you know what? I'm your new character, because it's only going to work for me if I put a mask on.
Now, there's an idea.
Oh, shut up, Richard. I should have never said that. I just opened that door, and I'm sorry that I did.
Yes.
Move on. Jake, help me. By the way, get that mask ready, because we're about ready to sign off, and we can't do it unless we have the Maker Monster do it. So.
There we go.
Richard, if you want to wrap things up next week for everybody's, I don't know. I don't know that anybody even cares, but in case you do, we're going to be talking about Maker events next year. Not only the Yandel show that's coming up, but potentially the Makers Central that's coming in 2020, and everything that could be headed that way in between. So there you go. And Jake, now the Maker Monster. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today. You, my friend, are amazing. I don't mind telling you, and I'm happy to say that to you.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, thanks for coming on, Jake. It has been.
This was fun.
It's been nearly as mad as an episode watching one of your videos, but a huge thank you, not just to you, but also for everyone listening. So, make sure everyone, if you don't subscribe to Jake and all the other people we've mentioned this evening as well, again, go off and do that straight after the show. I'm not sure if we are going to be doing we're not on Patreon free after party, because we do it anyway, and sometimes we don't, because we have lives as well. But if we do, we will. And if you're listening, thank you very much. If you're not, we will say what we like about you. So until next week, when I think we're talking about Maker event type stuff, possibly.
Good catch, Richard. Good catch.
Unless something else more interesting comes up, then I don't know. Until then, though, you all take care.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you later, everybody.